Anyway, the soup I remember at home as a kid was pretty nondescript. It was not real soft. To be blunt and honest, am I wrong?
It was all right. It was nothing special.
It wasn't very salty.
I thought it was good. And Linda, you were there a couple of times. What'd you think?
If we remember.
I don't remember, but I don't remember my mother ever making it.
Oh.
Oh,
I thought it was delicious. Mom's soup was really good.
was
I
it?
thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you do with your soup that makes it special?
Who?
Susan, Debbie.
I
Uh,
put cilantro in mine. That's the only thing I do that's different.
I never touched cilantro, but I put a lot of onion in it. A lot of onions and
Great.
carrots and
Onions,
garlic.
carrots, and celery, and cilantro.
Yeah. I do put a little bit of garlic in it.
No.
I do too, yeah.
What else? And parsnips and parsley root, actually.
Parsley root.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And then I throw them away after it's cooked. And like heaping tablespoon of salt.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of salt
A lot of salt and
and pepper.
some pepper. And I use I make a lot at one time. I usually use 3 chickens and some extra backs and necks and stuff.
When I
It
made
makes it tastier to use a lot of chicken, obviously.
when I made it, I thought mine tasted like nothing, so I doubled all of the vegetables.
Yeah.
I added more vegetables. The chicken was out, and I added more vegetables and some more salt, and I put in a bouillon cube, which I feel is sacrilegious, but it did help elevate things. And
I do that too. I mean, all of us are cheating with that.
yeah.
Some kind of bouillon or
So
something.
this is my soup, and to be honest, it's not a clear broth. And I know when Vita makes her soup, it's this beautiful clear broth. But the way she does it is she cooks the chicken first. She removes the chicken, then she puts the vegetables in, and then she removes the vegetables, I think, and then she refrigerates it. So maybe that helps it not be so. This is cloudy for some reason, so I don't know.
No, I just cook them all at
Part of
once.
it,
I think
part of
Jill
it is we
did that.
What?
I think part of it is we did put the chicken in at a boil, right? So anything when it's a boil, it's gonna be like if you pressure cook this, if you like pressure cooked this and you kept it like completely closed the whole time, you probably would have a very clear broth because pressure cooking, you're not actually like, it's not really moving around that much. Like you can get a very still, super high temperature broth in the pressure cooker. I think that's more to do with the agitation that we're
Okay. So you want me to take out the matzo ball mix now?
also. So
Can't hear you.
all right, I'm back. So we have to. So just to recap, we're skimming the fat off, then we're straining everything. Now we should pull apart some of the chicken, right? Pull apart some of the chicken meat.
Yeah.
So you can kind of talk about this.
So I'm just gonna, I have a leg here, so
Use your best tool.
use your judgment. We prefer dark meat in my family, in this family, but most people, if they're using the whole chicken, you're getting chicken breast and you're getting, the dark meat as well. You really don't want to put in the chicken skin, and it's pretty, rubbery at that when you after you've been boiling it anyway. So So I in my recipe, I happen to make with chicken thighs and chicken legs. So here's a little baby thigh, and I'm gonna get rid of this skin and the extra fat any extra fat that I see, and just,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
When, I know, Ben, you said 15 cups of water in the beginning, but is it just depend on how much soup you want, or that the hen has to be covered, the chicken has to be totally covered, or,
I think it's more to do with how much soup you want. Also, like concentration of soup. If you put in 20, if you're making 20 cups of stock with this, it's by definition almost like it's necessarily going to be less flavorful than a more concentrated broth. I think honestly, the steam from the boil is going to be, I don't know, the steam from the boil is going to be cooking the chicken, even if it's slightly out of the water. Anyways, I think it's more about I think it's more just, go ahead, Mom.
I think it's better to have the chicken covered, but if you're worried about there being too much liquid and not enough flavor, then you could actually cut the chicken up and put it in, so it takes less water to cover it.
Yeah.
And later, if you taste your soup and it tastes really strong, you can always add water to it. Even though I kept mine covered the whole time and I cooked it for like 2 hours or more, I kept lifting up the top and it seemed like it was evaporating. So then I tasted it and I added some things to it, and I decided I could get away with adding water to it to give it so that I had more soup. And that's maybe because I put in that bouillon cube. But
I was just going to ask that. Do you ever add bouillon?
I did. I don't. Well, sometimes I do. Like I use better than bouillon usually, but this time I didn't want to do that because it's kind of grainy and it leaves that grainy stuff in the soup. So I just used a bouillon, like a Knorr bouillon cube from the grocery store. Only one for that whole big pot. And I think that was, a nice little addition.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I'm not going to take apart all the chicken, but can you see this? I'm going to go wash my hands.
Yeah, bouillon. If you add a bouillon cube is like basically just a bunch of MSG and some salt. Bouillon in the jar, probably also a lot of MSG and salt and chicken flavor.
Yeah. Okay. These are I'm going to show you later, but these are the carrots that I cooked and pulled out when the soup was hot, when I pulled the chicken out. So I'm going to later I'm going to put together a bowl of chicken soup with sliced up carrots, chicken, a matzo ball, some dill. So now I'm going to roll the matzo balls.
Yeah, apparently people are pretty serious about their matzo ball rolling, and it's kind of like a point of pride for people, how round, how spherical, the Platonic ideal of matzo balls is probably like a perfect sphere. I don't think it matters. You can make logs of matzah. You can make matzah logs. You can make matzah pyramids, get creative.
Yeah. This is what my stuff looks like now, the mixture, and it's pretty thick, like, can you see that?
Quite thick.
Yeah. So, and basically I'm taking off a small amount. You can put a little bit of oil on your hand, but Debbie and Susan.
Hey, Ben.
And is that Eli? And our aunt used to brag that she rolled her matzo balls with her hands covered in oil. And as I remember, she had sinkers that were like lead. So I wouldn't recommend that. But it does help the matzah mixture not stick to your hands if you put a little bit on. So
Hey, Ben.
What's
Oh,
up?
sorry. No, sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Someone go ahead. Damn it.
All right, I'm just rolling it. Here's a ball, and it's about an inch or inch and a half wide because it'll double in size. Want to help me with this?
Mom, did you do a double batch?
Yeah.
Gail, there's your answer.
Ben, I
Thanks.
was just gonna say, I don't know that matzah pyramids are the best thing to make during Passover,
There
just
we go.
considering what everybody was escaping from.
I thought about that. I still said it. There you go. Little nod to our Egyptian friends.
Yes.
That's a different meal.
That's perfect, Hannah. Hannah suggested matzah crosses.
Oh, yes.
See you later, Julie. Thanks for showing up.
Bye,
Thanks for
Julie.
coming.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. This was really fun. Invite me again. And when I'm not coming from exercise class, I'll turn my camera on.
All right. Yeah, I can. I'll pop the link to sign up. You can just get all my updates. I'll pop that in the chat.
Yeah, if you get on, if you
Get on my
on,
computer.
Where is Julie?
She's gone now, I think.
So I'm still
No,
here.
oh,
I'm in Orlando.
Orlando. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
it's time to get ready for bed. I got work tomorrow. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to stay. If you need to go, just go. No problem. These usually go for an hour and a half to 2 hours, just because we're. Oh, there we go.
Night too. I'm in Toronto, so
All right.
thank you,
Yeah, you're welcome.
everybody.
we're gonna cook the matzo balls now.
Oh, the suspense.
Yeah, the matzo balls will. Mom, you don't. Did you make matzo balls already by chance?
Yes, I'm gonna show that in a minute.
Got it. Got it. Awesome.
So when the water is about to boil, so can you put the top back on it? So the water should be boiling, but not overly vigorously because it will break up the matzo ball. So maybe start it slow, and then you can, as you put the matzo balls in, the water temperature will lower and it won't be boiling at all. So you have to be careful. And I use that same slotted spoon to
Nice
put,
pants.
yeah, to put the balls fine
Is
in the water. My sous chef.
yeah. I like them.
Okay, so that is going to boil for a while with the top covered. And there's different camps about what you're supposed to do. Oh, Dre, you're taking notes.
I am. Wait, I missed. What did you do with the balls?
The balls he's putting in the boiling water.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see the balls behind the man.
And
Got it.
he's gonna put the balls in, let it come back up to a low boil, and let them boil for at least a half an hour. And you just have to experiment. Like pick one ugly looking ball and pull it out when you think they might be done, and cut them in half. And if it looks kind of like a dark sponge on the inside, it's not done.
Yeah.
I'll show you what a real one looks like.
Yeah, really quick, I want to address Hannah's question. So Hannah asked, you put them in water, not the stock. Yes, so that's something to talk about.
Oh,
Mom, do you
It
wanna-
goes in salted water.
Yeah.
oh,
So
missed that.
the article that I read that was like really in depth was like, you should definitely put it in the chicken stock. It's a make or break situation. I disagree. It's gonna give it more chickeny flavor, but you're also gonna cloud your chicken stock, right? The matzo balls are pretty, it's like starchy. Um, hold on a sec.
You just put them in.
Yeah, hold on a sec. So the chicken stock, when you cook them in the chicken stock, it's gonna technically be better flavor because matzo balls are essentially a big sponge, and they're gonna absorb all that chicken broth flavor. But if you season your water that you're boiling it in, there'll be plenty of chickeny flavor, and you can just boil them in some water. The result will be a less chickeny matzo ball, especially if you didn't use schmaltz, but a more clear broth, right? Because you're not boiling something starchy like pasta into the water. Dad and Mom, yeah, you could totally use a separate chicken broth. Also, like you could just use the chicken broth. It's kind of up to you.
It also absorbs the chicken broth that you've just spent so much time making. So
yeah, but it's flavorful.
Water and I flavor my
right, but you don't end up with as much chicken broth.
Right. So if you're trying to, right, that's actually, yeah, it absorbs a lot of that water. Actually, it like doubles in size. So it's like kind of sponges up. And that, yeah, when you're running a Passover Seder and you have like 20 mouths to feed, operationally, I think it makes a little bit more sense to boil the matzo balls in seasoned water because you need all of that chicken broth. Good point.
So in the end, your matzo ball, these are matzo balls that I made and I froze. So I'm just showing them to you because we don't have time on this Zoom thing. But I'm going to cut it in half, and this is pretty much what it looks like inside.
Can you bring it up a little bit closer?
Way closer. So the light's kind of messed up. Can you tilt it forward a little bit? Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
So it's kind of porous, a little bit spongy.
Yeah, I mean, it could be spongier. This particular one doesn't look that spongy to me. I don't see very many holes. But when you put it in water, it's going to blow up a little bit again.
Cool.
And I never did this before, but I decided I made too many last time I cooked. So I put them on a cookie sheet and put them in the freezer. And then when they were completely frozen, popped them off and stuck them all in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer for a day like today when I needed some vegetables. And I tried them and they taste just fine. They didn't fall apart. I cooked them in the microwave in a little bit of water. So that's always something to make your life easier.
So Sarah, how would you say you know when they're done? When they just don't look dark inside, or?
Well, when they're all floating and they've been at least a half an hour, but I've been known to cook them for longer than that, like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can take one out and cut it down the middle and see what it looks like inside. And when it cools, you could, taste it. And if the texture is weird and you don't think
If it's doughy.
just put it back in and cook it longer. So it's really trial and error.
Okay.
An undercooked matzo ball is very
Doughy.
it's
No.
not even doughy, it's mealy, it's sandy, it's dense and sandy almost. It's really not that good. Like I would really yeah.
Soft to the bite.
Yeah, because
Okay, and you said floating. Even the sinkers, do they float?
When you're cooking them, yeah, I think.
Okay.
Debbie, what do you do? How do you know when yours is done?
You don't want to know. I use a mix, so because they're no fail. I follow the recipe.
And it wasn't no fail. So
Huh?
I've used the mix and it was not no fail.
Oh well, I've never had a bad matzo ball from a mix.
I always have to cook them longer than a recipe or a mix tells me to.
Yeah. They always come out light and fluffy for me, so I don't know, maybe it's the elevation.
I do that too, and it's always, the mixes are good.
The mix is easy. But also my friend Meryl always keeps the top on and never takes the top off while they're cooking. I don't know how that's possible, but she has faith that it's going to cook whatever for however long she has it cooking. like she yells at me if I come over and lift the top off because she thinks that ruins her matzo balls. And Ben, you could talk about the article all about
Yeah.
covering matzo balls, but they do come out smaller if you don't cover your pot.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Daniel Gritzer, that guy, that mensch, he tested this. So he cooked a batch of matzo balls completely uncovered. Then he cooked a batch of matzo balls completely covered, and then he cooked a batch of matzo balls kind of like alternating, right? Open it, close it, open it, close it. The alternating and the fully covered were great. The uncovered one wasn't. It did not fluff up as much. It did not absorb as much water, and there was some weird discoloration on the top. This is probably because you're basically steaming the top of the matzo ball that's kind of exposed when you cover it. If you don't cover it though, that top part is not getting as well cooked, and there's less pressure. Like it's basically just getting less cooked overall. And then that exposure also dries out the top of the matzo ball and makes it kind of weird yellow color. So it's fine to open it and check. Like it's not a crime. It's not going to really affect it. If you just leave it uncovered the whole time, it will be detrimental to the end product. Also, I wanted to say, Hannah, not really err on the side of overcooked. I don't like overcooked matzo balls. Hannah said should we err on the side of overcooked? I think what you should do is just check. It's in my opinion, it's better to undercook, check, and then continue rather than like overcook and then you have like soggy fall apart matzo balls. But I also have heard from people there's no such thing as overcooking a matzo ball, which I don't know about that. I don't really agree with that.
When you guys were home and they were just so soft that they fell apart.
Maybe wasn't cool. Yeah, Mom, you can keep the show.
Okay, hold on. So this is what you do. When you're serving it, you put, a couple matzo balls in, and yours might be much bigger than this, your balls. And then I take a piece of carrot for each bowl. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yep.
And then a small amount of the shredded chicken. Or more, depending on what people are demanding. And then pour the hot soup over that. I don't have hot soup at the moment.
we also need some dill, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So I have fresh dill that I bought at the supermarket in the herb department. And I rinsed it, so I'm just gonna I know. So I'm just cutting this with my fingers, but you can do it with a knife. And I also chopped up some parsley, but not everybody likes that. Just a little bit. And
you can microwave the broth, that's quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna microwave it and then pour it in hot because maybe it'll be a little bit dark. It's really dark color.
Cool. So, we're kind of nearing the end here. We're about to do the big reveal. So does anyone have any other questions about this? Any other stories they want to tell? Any other debates they want to get into about the right way to do things? Or if it's okay or not to use bouillon, all that jazz. Feel free to just say it, I am kind of curious. It's like a solid amount of our family here. Yeah, there's a solid amount of our family here. Some cousins. Linda, I'd consider family. Everyone's, I don't know. There's a squad. Definitely a squad, and I'm kind of curious about that. Kind of like what Eli asked. Just kind of what goes down in your experience in terms of matzo ball soup and all the stories around it.
Who uses bouillon? I can't see any other hands because I'm not like. Who says yes?
Anna, Aunt Susie, and Jill,
Okay.
as far as I'm seeing.
But I only use the Telma kind. I don't use the other kinds because I don't like the flavor. The Telma cubes are the best ones. You can probably order them online. I think the grocery store here only carries them during Passover. Or if you're near a kosher supermarket, they'll have them.
Huh. I just use the Knorr kind. But I've used Telma. I don't know if it's any better.
I can taste the difference. I think Knorr puts other things in there, like other herbs and stuff.
Like Swedish things that don't belong in matzo balls.
I don't know. I just can taste the difference. So I like the Telma ones better, but.
That's helpful. Susan? Can't hear you. You're on mute.
I like Croydon House.
Never heard of such a thing.
Well, they make a matzo ball soup and a mix, and you can just use one or the other, or both. It's just bouillon, loose bouillon.
Oh.
In a little bag.
Huh.
We like the taste of it. I mean, we like our soup a little bit sweeter than some of the others.
So if you don't buy matzo mix, or you just use matzo meal?
Yeah, that's what we just did.
Just follow a
That's what
recipe
we
and do it. Make the matzo balls like you just did.
This time of year in most markets, you would find this for Passover, but you should be able to get it in your market in the Jewish section or in the ethnic section or something.
Oh, okay.
Matzo meal, but there's quite a bit in it. So this is what I use. Originally, we were talking about telling people to use just buy a box of matzah and put it in your blender to turn it into matzo meal. It's the same thing. But
so matzo mix is just basically that.
Ball mix.
Matzo ball mix is just basically got everything in it you need, and you just add water.
Well,
No, you add an egg. An egg. Okay.
Yeah.
So while my mom, I'm gonna kind of close.
Oil.
I'm gonna glue everything together here, kind of while my mom is setting that up. So what we're gonna do now is us, and like my mom is one day ahead, right? But we're like in the now, we're in the present moment, and we have a stock pot boiling. We're going to let that boil for about 2 hours, right? Total. It's probably been boiling for about 30 or 45 minutes at this point. And after 2 hours, we're gonna turn off the heat. We're gonna let it cool down to like room temperature, and then we're gonna put it in the fridge overnight. Everything my mom just did was post day one, right? So she pulled the cooled broth out. She skimmed the cooled fat. It's been in the fridge overnight, basically. All the vegetables are still in there. All the chicken is still in there. And when we pulled it out, we skimmed the fat off. We strained out the vegetables. We took out the chicken, pulled it apart. And then we took out our matzo ball mix and formed the balls. You can also just do all of the matzo ball stuff tomorrow. It takes less time. But yeah, you're not doing all this stuff today. You're doing this tomorrow. If that makes sense, Hannah.
Is it all right to leave our matzo ball batter in the fridge overnight?
Yeah.
It is. However, it does affect the texture. I remember, I think it has something to do with the egg. The egg water and protein separating slightly. So I think it like gets stiffer and then it actually loosens up again at some point. So like that's what I experienced with mine. I think some of the water like was leaking out or something. I wasn't exactly sure, but it's fine. I did that. Steve asks if you take the chicken out before you put the soup in the fridge. I think my mom does. I don't think it matters. It's kind of up to you. It might have an effect on the cloudiness.
Take the chicken out
What?
when the soup is hot. And it's a mess if you leave it in the broth.
My mom says it's a mess. I don't think it's a mess. But like it's kind of up to you. Like in my mom's experience, it's hot when it's hotter, it's easier to work with. But like honestly, I don't think it matters.
I have a question.
Personally. Yeah.
So why is it this overnight thing? Can't you just start it earlier in the morning and have it for dinner? Or
Totally. Yeah, it just
Oh.
has to cool. If you can get a pot of like 15 cups, 10 cups of water to cool from boiling to solidified and like, you know, all of the fat to cool down in a day, for sure. You can totally do that in the beginning of the day and like pull
But
it
when
out
you
in like 5 hours.
but when you serve it, it's hot, right?
Well, yeah, so you're doing all the straining and stuff when it's Mom, go ahead.
No, you finish. Sorry.
When you're serving it, yeah, you're reheating the cooled chicken stock. So
Okay.
once you've processed it, once you've strained it, once you've removed the chicken, either cold or hot, whatever, then you're going to be reheating it to actually serve with the matzo ball, which should be hot at that point and freshly boiled.
Okay.
Or frozen as we did.
But you don't actually ever have to refrigerate it if you don't need to, right? You can just let
You
it
kind of
cool.
want to because it solidifies the thing is the fat is much
The
easier
fat.
to
Oh,
extract
okay.
when you
Okay.
cool it. So you can technically
Okay.
skim the top, but it's just so much easier to do it when it's like cold.
I see.
Also, Hannah asked if it's bad if we put the stock in the fridge before it's totally cool. I don't think it's that bad, but there's something to be said for like energy efficiency. It's like, why are you going to put something hot in the fridge that has to cool down to room temperature anyways? You're kind of just making your fridge work a little bit more. But besides that, I think it's fine. Just don't melt your, plastic in your fridge or whatever.
I was going to show the matzo balls cooking because they really did double in size, but I can't do it with my phone at the moment. So, all right, Deb.
Hey, Ben, it's
Yeah,
Fran. I've been sitting here quietly, but I would say you do need to be careful depending on how warm it is if you put it in the refrigerator and what else it's going to heat up, because it could have an effect on other food in the refrigerator. That's the public health answer.
Yeah, totally. From like a food safety stance for sure. Like,
yeah,
you don't want some raw chicken to be.
But I understand that part of it. I've been sitting here quietly learning. I wanted to thank you for including me, and it may be shocking to a lot of you, but I've never had matzo ball soup. As Sarah knows, I grew up in an Italian-American family. So I've had chicken soup, but I've never had a matzo ball. So I bought the ingredients and I'm gonna make it and we'll see what happens. But
Awesome.
Thank you. This has been really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Come visit us, maybe.
I would love to. And then I could really see what it tastes like as opposed to my own cooking, which.
Here are the balls.
Your balls are lovely.
Thank
you. Yeah. Freed wants to know if they're sweaty.
Oh.
That's my husband. Yeah.
There we go. That's the comedy coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the final bowl is about to be completed, right? So those balls like doubled in size basically.
Yes.
Honey, you're missing her
a little
seam.
bit smaller, they shrunk a little bit. But can you see
Yeah.
the
Can you take the laptop down and give us like a nice close up of them?
No, I don't need to see that. Okay. We need the laptop.
Oh wait.
We should be able to do a speaker view and get it pretty close, as
Yeah.
opposed to a gallery view if you're looking.
Well, they have to just like bring the camera closer. There we go.
Can you see?
There we go.
Yeah.
That's the matzo ball soup. There we go.
Wow,
So
that's beautiful.
green, there's
Soup.
green, there's that like beige, and there's that orange, all the color contrast coming in. That's what makes it appetizing. And it's just steaming hot and smells really good, like chicken stock. Oh yeah, there we go. Biting
right.
into it.
Very good.
Doug, can you get the camera on mom's face now? How is it?
Very good. It's very dilly. A little bit too much dill, I think, but it's very good.
All right, yeah. All right, don't do that.
You know,
No,
I
do
only
that
had
and
it
then-
once. I only had it once in a deli, and it was very plain. There was nothing in it but a matzo ball. So that looks much better.
Yeah, the ones well, Arizona's not known for its delis, and there's one place here that near me, and it's terrible. Their soup is terrible.
Mm.
And their matzo
Everything they do is pretty bad.
Is it compies?
Yeah, it's hyper salted. It's the most salted broth I've ever tasted in my life.
Yeah, you cut it with like half water and then you're good to go.
Mhm. Well, it's
But
ve-
yeah, I mean that's kind of want to. I know people have to go and stuff, but I kind of wanted to say like that's it. That's matzo ball soup. And yeah, I'm really glad that my mom and I'm glad that like everyone showed up. Both like thanks for coming, thanks for enjoying this and learning with us, but also I really appreciated like the cats trio as well as all of the other like input from other Jewish people, our tribe, whatever. And yeah, this was super fun. Usually for the people who are social media savvy, I always appreciate and I always want to see like what you make. So tomorrow, once you've actually made this or whenever you make this, please post it on social media. I want to see what you're making. And just tag me or tag my mom. If you're on Instagram, tag me just at Ben_Imadali. And if you're on Facebook, tag me and my mom because we really want to see. And also that means we can all kind of see what everyone's making and kind of compare notes and talk about it. So thanks a lot for coming. I recorded the second half. I kind of messed up and I didn't record the whole thing. But I recorded the second half of this, my mom's preparation, and I'm gonna try to get that on YouTube. So hopefully that works out. But if it doesn't, oh well, I'll figure that out later. But yeah, Mom, if you want to say anything.
No, it's just so much fun to see all these people I haven't seen in ages. So Fran and friends from college and work and Drea. So yeah, and all my sisters and nieces and nephews. Is Michael on? What happened to Michael?
Michael was down in
Michael.
Wilsonville. I texted him. He was on his way home from Wilsonville, so I told him to pull over, but he couldn't.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah, thanks. I do this every Wednesday. So you can check out like my newsletter basically. It's chefben.substack.com and I'll put that in the chat. And we've basically like been kind of exploring a lot of different cuisines really. Last week we made banh mi, which is a Vietnamese baguette based sandwich. The week before that we made a Korean dish called thai kalbi. Yeah, and like I want people to like try things out and experiment and challenge themselves and feel comfortable doing that. So yeah, you're welcome to sign up to my newsletter. Please post all of your stuff, and it's been great having everyone here, and I hope you enjoy your matzo ball soup. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
For inviting me.
Can we stay in and chat if we feel like
Yeah.
it? AKA me.
Yeah, if you're trying to chill. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.